Cheers! Welcome to the last episode of Build It, Brew It, Drink It. This has been a long time coming, and it's been a long time coming for a couple of reasons. The Easy Summer Citra IPA that we did, let's go back to the beginning. We were looking for a really light 3.5% sessionable summer IPA, loaded with Citra hops, nice and simple. But in true to form, in home brewing and in macro brewing, sometimes things don't go exactly as you planned. We built this beer on the heels of one that I had done earlier in the summer for myself, which was a single malt, nearly single hop. Anyway, it was a single malt and 2 hops, super light IPA called the Dry Side, and it was made with Mandarina Bavaria in the finish, and that was Whirlpool hopped with Mandarina Bavaria, and it was absolutely stunning. Now, this was before we started the series, so I didn't have it. It wasn't made with Red Shed, and Red Shed has been so gracious and so helpful in making this series happen. We wanted to do that beer again, but we decided we'd change up a few things. Now, that was my first mistake. I had a formula that worked. I had a brew recipe that worked, but it didn't really fit into the context of the series where we would build a recipe right from the ground up, brew it, and drink it. And so we went back to the drawing board. That was maybe mistake one. I don't think the recipe itself was wrong. I think the implementation, somewhere along the way, we fouled up. And where that foul up occurred, I don't know. That foul up may have occurred during brewing. It may have occurred in hop selection. It may have occurred in fermentation. I don't know. What I do know is this: the final beer was not what I wanted. I said it. The first keg of Dry Side lasted 3 weeks. Yes, I went through 5 gallons of Dry Side in 3 weeks. It was that good. It was low enough alcohol that it could be consumed during the day without a risk of, getting boozed up. It was light. It was fresh. It was super hoppy, but not over the top. It was incredibly drinkable, and so I did. The second version, the Easy Summer Citra that we did not turn out that way. So I have had it. I have had other people have it. We all have come to the same conclusion. If it was the only beer in the room, we would drink it. But it wouldn't be a choice we would make. Unlike the other beers that we've done, the Alberta Double was a great sort of Belgian-inspired golden. Turned out fantastic. It's a little high in the alcohol scale, so I don't drink it very often. The London Brown that we did earlier in the season, brown ale from a Red Shed. Well, if you've been watching the show, you saw we crushed the last bottle of that, Luke and I, a couple of weeks ago. And it was a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I really hope we can make that happen again because it was a truly delicious, delicious beer. So, again, we're back to this beer. I've got a glass. I'm going to pour a glass. We're going to take a look at it, and we're going to talk about it. So, having poured a glass, first things to note. It's not clear, and it's not gold. It's beige. Wonderful white, crisp white head. Looks really good. On the nose, kind of flat, a little yeasty. It's got a little funkiness to it. Yes, still you can. The Citra is there, but there's also just sort of it, and I don't want to call it musty. It's not musty. It's not sour. Well, we'll get into the flavor in a minute. I can't really say sour. It's hard to pick. There's no acid on the nose anyway. But you can see, it's just, it doesn't have the color profile that you would expect. And I can't backlight it at the moment, but I mean, maybe I could put something white behind it. If I got something white I can put behind it, maybe you can, I don't know, maybe that'll, yeah, like it's just not, it's kind of almost got a brownness to it. And considering it's a sessionable, there's no way it should have that much malt or that much dark malt. So that says to me something went haywire along the way. And I don't know what that is. If I had to hazard a guess, I'd say infection, but there was no infection in the fermenter. This was sort of, it was a week and a half from the time it was kegged until it was first sampled, and it wasn't right when it was first sampled. And so that says to me, during fermentation, something went wrong. Either it under-fermented, though the numbers looked right, or it just didn't, maybe it didn't complete, I don't know. Maybe the yeast wasn't healthy. I don't really know. There isn't any sediment floating around. It's just hazy. And anyway. So as I said, I mean, it's malty, a little bit malt, a little bit of the hop is there. This also was Whirlpool hopped with Citra. Like I said, the head is nice. It's got some retention, in fact. It's got a great big blob of rocky head in the middle that isn't dying down. But it's got that haziness. So let's taste it and let's see if we can pick up anything else. Okay, it's a big IPA. It's definitely an IPA, sessionable IPA. It's got a bit of a bite. There's no tartness. There's no sourness. So it's not like it got lactose or lactobacillus got in there. But it's got an aftertaste. The bitterness on the aftertaste is wrong. It's lingering in a way that Citra normally doesn't linger. Now, we used, if I recall, and I'm going to refer to my recipe really quickly here. Okay, so the recipe we did a 10-gallon batch. So we used 50 liters of Edmonton City water with Camden, and we used the Bentley 2-row from Red Shed. And that malt profile is actually here. So the Bentley did its job. I mean, it did provide the right kind of flavor. We used Chinook in the boil and Citra in the Whirlpool. And I think what it is, if I had to put, there are two things I think that went wrong. Number one, I don't think fermentation was either complete or healthy. I think that's part of it. And that would lead to the amount of stuff that's floated. Like it's just straight up hazy. Like it's I can see through it. I can see the line on the other side of the glass, but I can't, it's just hazy. Like really hazy. That 2 ounces of Chinook at 55 minutes. We 10-gallon batch, it's an ounce. It's not like it's crazy amounts, but I think what happened is the hop profile got blown to pieces because I don't think that Chinook was still fresh. And I think as a result, we've got a little of that old hop feel. It doesn't taste oxidized. I don't get cardboard and, wet dog, which you usually get from something that's oxidized. I think perhaps it's a combination of the old hops that just imparted a flavor that wasn't all that delicious. And I think the fermentation either was too fast or was stressed in some way, and it threw some phenols and stuff that weren't real delicious. As for the cloudiness, there are lots of things that can contribute to that. Again, if that Whirlpool didn't go quite right, if we didn't get enough of the proteins out, this could just be chill haze, but really bad chill haze. It's about the only thing I can think of. As I said, I mean, it's not undrinkable by any stretch. But there's definitely just, it's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable in the way we expected. Now, I guess that's an important thing to remember too. As a home brewer, you're not going to hit every time. It's not going to be a home run every time you make a beer, especially when you start building your own recipes. There are so many variables between the water you use, the choice of hops, how those hops have been handled, your grain, the quality of your grain. And I mean, this is a testament to the fact that good quality grain may be able to actually save a beer. But anyway, there are so many variables between recipe creation, ingredient selection, process, fermentation, bottling, or kegging. If you don't hit every note along the way, it's going to change the beer. Not necessarily for the better or for the worse, but it'll change it. In this case, I think we had a couple of things that conspired to make this a less than ideal beer. And as a result, because it's a homebrew, because we built it, I don't have a lot of heartache in just dumping it. It happens. You're going to screw up a beer once in a while. Don't be afraid to say, ooh, totally missed the mark. Let's look at what's wrong with it, try to understand what's wrong with it, and then let's get rid of it and start over. And try to replicate the process, but paying attention to those things that you think went wrong. And then brew it again. So that's it. The third beer in the series, a wonderful experience, no less. But definitely not the beer we were looking for. And I think along the way that gave us a great learning opportunity as homebrewers, as recipe creators, and as beer lovers, plain and simple, to recognize that not every beer is going to be your favorite, and not every beer is going to be the best one you ever made. A big thank you once again to Red Shed Malting for their support of this project. redshedmalting.ca. The folks at Red Shed Malting have been amazing partners in this project, and their support supplying us the grain to build this stuff. We're really excited. We've still got lots of Red Shed Malting to use, and we're going to be doing some more brewing with it, but we're going to be doing it outside this series. It'll be just part of what we do. And we'll be sharing anything that comes up with that process, either in the glass or otherwise with you. A great big thank you, of course, to Lance for helping, and Luke for helping build this series with me, generating recipes, talking about these things. Though much of it didn't hit the camera, virtually all of it is right up here and was a part of this process. So obviously, Luke, as a new beer lover over the last few years, has had some great ideas and some amazing input. Lance is always a great guy to have in your brewery and working with you, because we just get it done, and it's a lot of fun. So that's it. The last beer of Build It, Brew It, Drink It. This one just a little shy on the drink it side, I guess. Thanks again for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next summer, perhaps with a Build It, Brew It, Drink It 2. Cheers, and have a great fall and winter.